Coming up on today's episode, I've got my buddy Leroy here with me, and we're making Indian spice tomato soup. What do you think of that, Leroy? I know, right? Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey, and today I'm joined with my co-host Leroy to celebrate the season. We are a whole food, plant-based, vegan cooking channel. We do some product reviews, we do some DIY, sometimes there's some baking with Tim. If you like what you hear so far, please hit that like button, show us some love, and please think about subscribing and becoming part of the Plant-Based Dads family. All right, if you've been watching the show for a while, then you know that I'm doing the Starch Solution. The Starch Solution is a way of eating where you eat high-carb starches and low-fat whole foods, and you lose weight. It's worked for me. I've lost about 30 pounds, and I'm really in like the best health of my life. We follow the protocols of Dr. John McDougall, and there's a link below the video description if you're interested in the book. One of the best places to get support for the Starch Solution is our Facebook group, Plant-Based Dads, Starch Solution Enthusiasts. There's a picture of it right here. It's just filled with thousands of people who are doing the Starch Solution, who are new to the Starch Solution, who've been doing it for years, who are all just kind of getting together and helping each other get along in this. And we're posting pictures of our food and inspiration and all sorts of stuff. It's a great group of people. I absolutely suggest that you join if you want to be surrounded by like-minded people. All right, so today's video is quite apropos for the season. You know, it's in Phoenix, it is in the 40s in the morning, then we wake up now. It does get to 65, 75, sometimes even 80 during the day. So it's beautiful every day, it's clear, it's absolutely gorgeous, but the mornings are getting cold. And it's a perfect weather for soup. You know, we kind of wait all year for these 3 months where we have this cooler weather where we could make soup, because the rest of the year we're just not interested in really hot food, right? Today's soup is one of my favorites. It is an Indian spice tomato soup. I've been making this for a while now. It's definitely a thicker soup. It's a spicy soup for sure. You can control that. And it's spiced, right? It's got cardamom in it and turmeric and some other spices, a whole bunch of great flavorful Indian spices. This soup is just all whole food plant-based, and it does not use any cream, but it does get blended up. If you like some flavor, some spice, a little touch of the season, then this is a perfect soup for you. I really think that once you give it a shot, you're really gonna love it. But it's different than any other tomato soup you've ever had. So you kind of have to go into it with blind expectations. All right, I spent a lot of time putting this together for you, making it look good. I can't wait to show you what it looks like. Let's get to the food. To start out with our Indian spice soup, we're going to need just a few ingredients. First, we've got some beautiful cherry tomatoes, some fresh ground pepper, some sea salt or Himalayan salt, a jalapeno, some cardamom seeds, some cayenne pepper, some ground coriander, some turmeric, some cumin seeds, some balsamic vinegar, a red onion, and some garlic. Then I headed over to a nice cleaned sink. I made sure to scrub it first. And I'm going to put in my colander here. I've got this pop-down colander I use. There's a link to it below the video. And I'm going to put in my cherry tomatoes in here and get those nice and clean. Once I've got those in the colander, I'm going to spray them with a vegetable and fruit cleaner. This one's like citrus based. I got it from Sprout. And I'm going to keep spraying it and move them around a little bit and keep spraying them more just so I get them really covered with the foam, so that can kind of sink in there and start coating everything. And now I'm going to rinse them off by shaking them back and forth and getting the spray over all the cherry tomatoes. I'm going to let those dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to dump them into a really large mixing bowl. Next, I'm going to start adding in my ingredients. First, I'm adding a little bit of broth just to get everything to stick to them, because we're not using oil. Then I'm going to mix all those up to make sure the broth kind of coats everything so they can get all nice and sticky. Next, I'm adding a sprinkle of Himalayan salt. And I'm going to start grinding in some black pepper. The salt and pepper are just to taste. Now I'm adding about 30 cardamom seeds. That would be about 3 pods. Next, I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of cumin seeds. Now I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of ground coriander. I'm also adding 1/2 teaspoon of ground turmeric and 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You can add more or less depending on how spicy you like the soup. Now I'm going to start mixing all that together to kind of get it all combined and try and get all the little cherry tomatoes coated with this spicy mix that we just made. Now it's time to roast them. I've got a sheet pan with some parchment paper on. I'm going to dump them right in there, and I want to make sure I get all that juice out of there. That's the coating right there. That's the flavor, so I want to make sure I get it on the tray. Now I'm going to spread them all out so they're kind of evenly laid out, and I'm going to add in a half a jalapeno. Or if you have a red chili, that would be great too. I didn't have that, and Sprouts didn't have any, so I'm using a jalapeno. Make sure you take out the seeds and get up the veins if you can. And now we're off to the oven. And I'm going to pop these into a preheated oven at 375 degrees for 20 minutes. Mine were not done after 20 minutes. If that happens, just keep adding 10 minutes more to the timer on the oven until they come out wrinkly. And I'll show you what I mean when they come out. Next, we're going to saute the veggies. I've got a stock pot on medium heat, and I'm going to add a little bit of broth in here because we're not sauteing with oil. This is an induction cooktop. It comes to a boil really fast. Once that happens, I'm going to add 2 red onions, roughly sliced. It's all going to get pureed at some point. And I'm just going to mix all those in. Also, I forgot to throw in the garlic at this point, so I'm adding another handful of garlic. This is like 4 or 5 garlic cloves just chopped up. And I'm going to mix all that and let that cook for about 5 minutes until the onions are translucent. You can see here I'm adding a little bit more water because we're not using oil and I don't want this stuff to burn. So just add a little bit of water to keep it wet, but not so much where it changes the temperature of the pan. And while that's happening, you can see my tomatoes are done. See how they're all wrinkly and kind of shriveled up? That's what they should look like. Mine were not done after 20 minutes. I had to put them in for 10 more minutes and then another 10 minutes. So this is what they should look like right here. After my onion and garlic are soft, I went ahead and dumped the tomatoes right into the pot. I just held the parchment paper and dropped it in from there. Now I'm going to kind of cook them just for about 3 to 4 minutes so the flavors can kind of meld. Everything in here is now cooked already. I just want the flavors to combine. After that, I turned off the heat, and you can see here I took a stick blender and blended it all up till it was nicely pureed and came out pretty good. I made sure to get everything, including that half chili pepper, and now it's time to taste it. Just to make sure if I need any more spices or salt and pepper, and it was absolutely ready to go. Dinner is served. All right, guys, you can see here, it looks absolutely delicious. It's got a beautiful red texture to this. I've got some scallions on top of this, some black pepper. It looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to give this a shot. I've already had some. I've had a lot of it, actually. So let's see what this tastes like. It's absolutely delicious, guys. So good. It's definitely a unique flavor. You can taste the cardamom, you can taste the turmeric, you can taste all the spices in there. And it's definitely spicy, like it's hot. So it's a perfect soup for winter, right? It definitely warms you up. If you're not a big fan of spicy, like hot spicy, then leave out some of the spices, tone it down. If you are just not a fan of food with spices in them, then this is probably not the food for you. You may want it just a traditional tomato soup. This is not traditional by any means. It's definitely a little, it's a big boost, right, to tomato soup, and it's definitely full of flavor. So if you make this, just make it knowing that there's a lot to it. Now, it doesn't really make a lot of soup, so if you make this and you absolutely hate it, you haven't lost much because this makes really 1.5 servings, right? I'm gonna eat this whole thing myself, but about 1.5 servings. So it's not like you're making a whole pot of this and now you've got servings for 8, right? So if you are gonna make this and you like it and you wanna make it for other people, you would have to double or triple the recipe. All right, Leroy, what did you think of the soup? See, he agrees. All right, guys, that's our video for today. Please hit that like button. Show us some love. What's not to like? We got Indian spice tomato soup. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, become part of the Plant-Based Stats family. Click on that bell, you'll get notified every time we have a video, usually every Monday. If it's a DIY, it'll be on Wednesday. And if there's baking with Tim or anything else, that'll be on Saturdays. And please leave a comment below. Have you had anything other than traditional tomato soup before? Are you looking forward to this Indian spice soup? Or are you just kind of like a traditional tomato soup and you're like, not doing it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.